In another couple of hours, dawn comes.
So is Logan not going to go search for him, or do we all decide just to stay?
Oh, were you
No,
going to go out?
Yeah, I'm going to go search for him, but when the light's up.
Okay, wait till the dawn. Gotcha.
Okay. Another 2 hours and dawn comes. You don't hear any signs of anything else. Although, the wind does seem to drop. And the snowfall slows. It doesn't stop snowing, but it's a light snowfall now rather than a blizzard.
That's advantageous. Okay. I'll head out on my own. Go back to the spot where I found the blood and see if I can get any clues as to which direction his body was dragged.
Weighing my options about the future of our party and how we seem to have no guide now, I offer to go along with Logan.
Yeah, I don't let either of them leave alone.
Yeah, I think we'll all go, probably, and let Logan scout. I don't think any of us are too cool to stay.
So,
Torgrim, you were only on guard for about 2 hours before all that happened. And so you got a couple hours of rest afterwards and some hours before, so we'll go ahead and call that a long rest for you too. So, no more exhaustion.
Does that remove my exhaustion? Okay.
Yeah.
On my way over to the blood, I make sure to drag my feet and make my tracks perceptible to the rest of the party so that they can follow. And then when I get to that point, I'll do a stealth and what is that, a survival? See if I can find the tracks.
Okay. You creep up to the place where you saw the blood. It's frozen now into the snow, but you can still see where it happened. And it's clear that whatever happened to him, his body was dragged south. There are the same tracks as you saw in the snow earlier nearby his body, but they've mostly filled in by the snow, and it's hard to tell what they are. But if the trail, the pass runs mostly east to west, and you were traveling east to west, the tracks are to the south. Or the impression of his body is heading south.
Follow those tracks.
Okay.
So is it we've seen where his body fell, but we're not looking at his body? Correct?
Correct.
It's a lot of blood.
Okay. You head south, following the impression his body made slowly. You don't have to go far. Maybe 50 feet from where he fell, there's an embankment, a boulder. And after you go around the boulder, on the other side, you find Durbin's body. It looks like his neck is broken, and something has been eating at his middle. He's very dead. Eyes are wide open and staring.
This is just Logan that's found him so far.
Mm-hmm. But the rest of you will come up on him in short order.
Run an investigation, see if I can see anything.
I'm afraid I can't heal that.
That's an out of character laugh, by the way. I don't laugh in character.
Looking nearby, you can see clearer tracks that were somewhat sheltered by the boulder. And based on what you can see in the injury, probably a bear. A large one. if you had to guess, it disemboweled him first before breaking his neck and dragging him off.
The instincts were good on that one, Wappa.
The bear's tracks headed further south after it ate its meal.
I'll once I get up, I'll look Solon and stand over his body and close his eyes, and then I'll say a prayer. I'll look about to the company. The guide is gone, and the weather has been foul. We should talk and make some decisions.
I'll be the pragmatic one and point out that the fact that this isn't the way off the mountain and the bear's belly is full, so we should make haste. There's nothing we can do for him now.
I agree with that.
We need to bury the man. At least that much.
Yeah, I agree.
I walk over the corpse and make sure its eyes are closed, and then try and make it as comfortable as possible. For what it is.
The ground is stony and frozen, but if you spend some time gathering rocks, you could probably build a cairn. And cover his body, at least.
Yeah, probably there's more rocks back where we were camped, right?
There's some strewn all about if you look around hard enough. This is a pretty rocky slope.
Logan, do you mind keeping watch while we gather stones?
Yeah.
All right then. I'll set about grimly doing the task of gathering rocks and burying his body.
I'll gladly help him out in kind of a water bucket line kind of thing.
Torgrim assists as well. And if there are rocks that are out of reach of us, use Mage Hand if they're under 10 pounds and bringing them down as well.
Okay.
That's a good idea. Once I see him doing that, I'll actually do the same so I can carry the rocks.
Okay. So those of you who are less used to having magic used about you, interesting to see these two guys sort of telekinetically moving stones around.
Yeah, I may have seen magic in battle before, just like it still gives him pause, so he just kind of cautiously watches to move them around. It stays well out of the way of the floating rocks, and goes about the grim business of burying Durbin. Anything on Durbin before we bury him that we need to take, like keepsake that we might take back to his family or anything?
I was just going to say, does anyone loot the corpse?
Yeah.
Durbin didn't have many personal possessions on him. He had a little bit of coin, and he did have copies of the maps that that Gundren showed you at the inn.
Okay. I'll take the maps, and then I'll just kind of toss his coin pouch out in the middle of the group somewhere for somebody to pick it up. Not particularly go after it. And then if he has no keepsakes that we can take back that are like mementos, I'll just bury him.
I decide to sort of half-heartedly help bury him, even though I kind of think it's a waste of time.
But if you do it quicker, at least it gets done, right?
Yes.
It's cold now, but it's not bone-chillingly, exhaustingly cold. And as long as you stay covered up and don't fall in a creek or something, you won't need to make constitution checks, unless the weather gets worse again. It takes not very long with the help of everybody and the mage hands to cover him up good, maybe half an hour, not even 15-20 minutes.
Logan looks over his shoulder when everybody's finished and suggests that we go back and collect our belongings and make our way off this mountain before the weather comes back in, huh?
Aye. Let's get off this cursed peak.
Hear no objection from me. Let's go.
Does
You
anyone
know
go
well
for the
enough.
coin pouch?
Nobody pick up the coins.
No, I take the maps. I mean, I don't need to. I can remember them.
Yeah, I'll actually let you take the maps and do this guy.
I'll snatch up the coin pouch.
Anyone else want a piece of that?
No, I don't go after it. Like, I recognize the practicality of taking it and leaving it's pointless, but I don't particularly desire to carry a 10 man's coin, especially kind of a friend.
That'll be 5 gold, 7 silver. Okay. Gathering your belongings, you're able to make your way down the mountain. The snow is a little deep, but the road or the pathway is still relatively clear, given that there's not very many different ways to go on your way down. It funnels you down pretty quickly onto the slopes of the mountain, and you hit the tree line again. As you get below the snow, the road becomes clearer, more of a path than anything. And the light snowfall turns to a drizzling rain. You can see ahead of you while you're still up the slope. When you see a break in the trees, you can see a lake in the forest below you in the valley.
Ah, that must be Crystal Lake. I think we travel westward or south around the lake, is that correct?
Yes.
Just kind of surveying the vale for a moment. Not like in a way to like look for trouble or anything, but just kind of like breathe in the cold air and let my eyes wander over the stony peaks and just kind of the landscape and admire it.
It's a thick forest of both fir and pine. There's pretty deep undergrowth, but the road is surprisingly clear. Definitely a relatively untouched forest, but you aren't the only ones to have passed this way.
I'll take that as a good sign, having also surveyed the landscape, and continue on down the road. And I say this as an aside to what's your name again? Logan, as he's examining the environment.
Yeah, he just said he takes it as a good sign.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the path looks easier, that's for certain. We should get down as quick as we can and get about our mission.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm tired of being cold, so I agree and say we push on as fast as we can.
Let's hope Gundrum doesn't have problems with that bear when it comes through.
Interesting.
Technically, he hired us to clear the bear.
Right. Good point. Well, I mean, we could walk back up there and leave him a friggin' warning sign that says bears ahead, but
I mean, it's the wilderness, right? Like, I'm just going to assume that he's being, like, cautious of bears. There's going to be, even if we killed this bear, there's probably another bear. You know?
Right.
It's not like a
Yeah.
goblin raiding party.
Yeah, we can't be responsible for clearing out the wilderness of all
dangerous
wild
wildlife.
animals.
Animal genocide. But it may have had a cave nearby. I guess we could have searched for that, but we can always come back later if we need to.
And fair to say, too, when Gundren comes, he's bringing a caravan, which means he'll probably have a number of people
Guards.
with him.
Let's just move on. Keep walking down the path.
But that's a good
Towards
point.
the lakeside shore.
Technically, he did hire us to. Okay.
If it were an orc, I would kill it.
Yeah,
As
if it
you
was a humanoid, I would have been all over that. But
just a bear, man. He's doing bear things. He was hungry. It's snowy up there.
exactly. Dumbass walking out in the snow that far away from camp to take a pee. You're an
This
idiot.
bear doesn't hibernate, huh? Interesting bear.
It's
springtime,
spring,
bud.
man. Bears are
Yeah,
hungry
it's
in the
just like
spring.
it just seems because like it's winter. That's right.
Springtime is snowing. It's hungry as shit because it just woke up. Bears doing bear things.
I mean, the paths seem pretty clear. And the bear was even kind enough to drag the body off of the beaten path. So, kudos to the bear.
That's true. I'll next time as we're walking, I'll like talk to Logan a little bit. Side conversation. Doesn't that weather seem strange for spring? Have you ever seen such a thing?
Rain often turns to snow in higher up places. I don't see it as anything out of the ordinary. There was already snowfall on the ground itself. So.
Suppose I'm just being paranoid. Thanks for putting my mind at ease.
You're welcome.
Clearly, the mountain cursed us, right? Because you're casting magic spells.
Right.
That's
All
what
magic
we
spells, totally.
Right, as you continue down the road, it hits the valley floor and winds through the forest. And before long, the path starts following the shores of the lake.
Very nice. Is the water like healthy looking, or is it like algae covered or anything like that? Like, how's the water look? I guess.
The water is darker than you would expect for something called Crystal Lake.
Interesting.
But it doesn't look, it's not algae covered or anything. It's not a bright green. It's a dark blue, but it's a very dark blue.
I'll make a very poor, awful nature check to see if I can like reason why it would be so dark.
Hard to say. Some combination of where the source comes from, probably. Most of the lake is going to be mountain runoff this high. And so you would expect it to be clearer at this point, not having picked up, too much dirt or sediment coming off a relatively rocky set of mountains. But maybe there's another source.
I'll at some point I'll walk next to Torgrim. Strike conversation up to him as we're walking. Let me know if you see any interesting stonework when we travel the Vale. There's long died out tribes of dwarves used to live in these mountains. The realm is called Hundamar. It's been thousands of years since it stood. Be curious in anything you spot.
Logan, seeing Amir checking the water, also decides to do a nature check on that to back him up, since he didn't share what he learned with us.
I don't know, man. Looks like water. You've seen water all kinds of different colors before.
Right.
Although it is a little darker than you'd expect for mountain runoff.
Yeah, I'm just kind of assuming, like, with my basic understanding of nature, that it's just deep. Was my takeaway.
Right.
So
Well,
it's
I
a
have
deep lake.
nature proficiency. That's why I was like, there seems like there's something more to that there. But I may have rolled shitty. Who knows?
Yeah, because I didn't like leave anything, I just chose not to share it, basically.
Okay.
While they're busy examining the water, Adolman is eager to get to the fishing village and see what kind of progress has been made about the creating the first caravan nest. So we'll kind of take the lead if nobody else does.
Lead on.
On the path we go.
Yeah, Mimir will catch up once he senses he's falling behind.
Okay.
What time are we at right about now?
When you hit the lake, it's probably about 1 o'clock, a little afternoon. And based on the maps that you've got, you should be able to make Crystal Shores just before nightfall, as long as the road doesn't get bad.